Right, hi guys, this is my pitch on my short film called Detect. Don't know what went wrong with my voice there. So my idea is basically there's a group of friends and they're just sort of hanging out at a house. There's a little tension within the group due to one of the boys being a bit, iffy. But, everything's fine until that guy turns up dead. The presence of recreational drugs stops them from telling the police because, they'll get into trouble. But one of them is like sort of playing detective and trying to figure out what's gone on. The friends actually end up turning on each other, saying, oh, it was you, until the true culprit is revealed. So I have and will be completing both primary and secondary research. The focus of my research is to see what critics think makes a good short film and also what my target demographic will be. The reason I've chosen those two things is because I think it will help me focus, a lot of details into making my piece the best it can be. So the primary research is I'm doing two focus groups, one for the age group of 18 to 20 and one of 40 plus. The reason I've chosen those two is just to see, what different generations think of the idea. I've also put out a survey and that was basically on, what I could improve within my idea. And I also reviewed 3 short crime films that were all quite different, just to pick out techniques that I thought were good and that I could use within mine. For secondary, I looked at a lot of different articles that critics have written about what makes a good short crime film, or just crime films in general. I also looked at reviews of the short films that I reviewed to see if there was anything different within them. So this is sort of stuff that you put in your treatment, but I'm going to make my piece about 8 to 16 minutes long. The reason I've given myself, that range is because I don't want to be, pressuring myself into making it exactly an amount of time. I want it to take as long as it needs to. My target audience I've sort of figured out will be 16 to 30-year-old male and females. The reason behind this is obviously, the group that I'll go on to talk about, their age is sort of, 18, 17, so it would appeal more to the younger generation than the older. My location is my house, so it's like a semi-detached house, so you're going to use the front room, the kitchen, and the bathroom, so all simple locations. This is good because, it's there whenever I need it, and also it will be easy to get permission. The lighting is, I'm going to use low lighting. This is because I think it will set the mood of a crime piece, dark and dingy. The cast is 5 people between the ages of 15 and 18, and there's also 1 extra. And the characters are Charlotte, who's already been cast, Daisy, Luke, who's already been cast, Lewis, and a pizza delivery boy who's also already been cast. There will be 3 crew members, 1 director, 1 camera operator, and 1 assistant director. The reason I haven't got anyone on audio is because we're just going to attach the boom mic to the camera, so that'll be the responsibility of the camera operator. And the equipment is obviously a camera, boom mic, tripod, and a track and dolly. So my constraints and contingencies. I've got to make sure that it doesn't get too dark while I'm filming, otherwise the shots won't look consistent. And the way I'm going to get around this is by setting up my equipment way before I need to film, so that when I do need to film and the lighting's right, I can just go. I also need to make sure that everyone learns their script. And to do this, I'll give them a sufficient amount of time to learn it, and also conduct rehearsals to make sure they're at points that I want them to be. I'm going to make sure the production runs smoothly, because if it doesn't, obviously, everything goes wrong. This is obviously making sure the cast rehearsed, and that I conduct practice shoots to make sure when we bring it together, it's how I want it to be. One of my big things within my project is I'm going to do a Zolly shot, because I just like it and I think it's a good effect and it's used a lot in crime films. And how I'm going to do this is just practice and practice it before I film, so that when I have the actor there, it's ready to go. There's also a dog on location, so I will pre-warn the cast and crew of the dog to make sure nobody's afraid, and I'll also just lock her out the room when we're recording. Styles and techniques. So with my framing, I'm going to frame my shots very basically. This is because I don't want to take away from the story, because obviously it's a crime, so it makes you think about who did it, so I want to keep it fairly simple. I'm going to use a tracking shot though, or a few tracking shots. This is to sort of help immerse the audience within the piece to sort of feel like they're there trying to figure it out. I'm not going to have very, fancy audio, it's just going to be dialogue, but I'm also going to try and make sure there's rain throughout. Obviously this will be a sound effect because you can't guarantee the weather, but this is just to create, again, a moody atmosphere, same as the lighting that I mentioned earlier. There's also going to be a montage scene of like the party, because I don't want to focus too much on that, but during that I am going to show the murder weapon being placed. So to make this a bit more mysterious, I'm going to have a blur effect. So, two people are in focus and the background is blurred. That's the end of my presentation. Does anyone have any questions? No?
Oh, okay. I have a few.
Of course.
Okay. It's a sort of a whodunit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, thinking about the whodunits, there's two ways of doing it. Okay, there's a serious way or there's a tongue-in-cheek way. Which is yours?
Well, I've actually already written the script, so it's sort of kind of a comedic way. It's
Right.
not so serious, but at the same time it does have the serious undertones.
Right. Okay. So there are quite a lot of whodunits out there. So what sort of examples have you been looking at?
Well, something that I looked at, I watched, it was a little series called And Then There Were None, a little while ago. It was basically where a group of people got sent to a house and slowly they started being killed off, and you sort of like had to figure out who it was from who like was left, and obviously like each character would die, so it was like, oh. So I've watched that. Obviously I also watched my 3 short films, and one of them was a whodunit, because when I was looking at them I wanted to make sure that I looked at different examples of crime, but one of them was a whodunit, so I looked at that as well.
Okay. I think when you said you were talking about the sorts of shots and you wanted to try and keep your words quite basic shots, okay? And I think I knew what you meant there, because you want the story to tell itself, sort of thing. Yeah. And I guess whenever you said that there, I was thinking of examples, TV shows like Miss Marple and Poirot and things like that, where they have done that sort of thing. That whodunit type thing, but it's the dialogue that tells the story with a few clever shots, but nothing to do with special effects.
I think that's what I'm going to aim for.
So it might be worth having a look at some of those examples, as well. Length is 8 to 16 minutes.
Yes.
Outside it's quite a long one, 16 minutes long.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't do it. I just said normally because with the length of it, there's so much work you have to put into it.
Yeah. I think the reason I've given myself that is obviously where it is a crime whodunit, you don't want it just to be quick.
No.
Because then it doesn't give people time to think. So.
But on the flip side of that, there is you don't want to lose your audience, and have it too long. Yeah. So sometimes if you keep it nice and tight, okay, it can work a lot better and it keeps your audience involved in it.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got quite a big cast. You've got 5 or 6 actors.
I thought that was quite small.
Well, for a short film.
Yeah.
What are the commitments of your cast, and where are your cast coming from?
So I asked somebody from my class, but also my brother, who has also been cast in it. He belongs to a drama club.
Right.
So I've got a lot of those. There's quite a big group that I can choose from.
Right.
And they won't have to be very committed. Obviously, I know them and I know that they can learn lines very quickly. And also, the filming should only take sort of 1 or 2 nights, so it won't be too bad. And I think where it is in the evening as well, people have less commitments in the evening. So
1 or 2 nights, but you also need to build into that the practice sheets and the read-throughs as well. I mean, the good thing is, as you say, they're good at learning lines and things like that, taking instruction and direction. But you still need to do that. Put those practice sheets and things like that in, which sort of brings us, directing as well. How do you feel you're going to have? What is going to be your style of directing?
Firm but fair.
Firm but fair. Okay, yeah. You do have to have control.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they have to. You're trying to achieve a particular look, okay, and you have to make sure that works.
Yeah.
Okay. Practice shots. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, well done. Thank you.